Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 163. This podcast is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we get deep into Forsaken. Guardians compete for World's First in the Last Wish raid, we talk about our favorite weapons and builds so far, and we continue to explore what the Dreaming City has to offer. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and of course, CyborgSasquatch. Hey, buddy.
Hello, friend.
How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah, it is. One powerful gear drop at a time.
Yeah, it's been a really busy week, man. And
yes,
it's like we're recording on a Sunday night here, and I still have a long list of things to do before reset.
I know. It's like, yeah, it's still at that kind of bit overwhelming trying to fully understand, like get your new routine down, and the week's just been busy, dude. And so like, you know, you settle in at night, you fit in some Destiny, you end up staying up a little bit later than you originally told yourself you were going to. And before you know it, you haven't slept very much all week long.
All week.
All week long.
Deprived.
That's
Yep.
all right. That's
Well,
all right.
we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week.
We do. Stuff happening over the weekend. All kinds of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Few announcements real quick.
Yes. Guys, we threw up a tweet this week. Just wanted to tell you, give you a little bit of an opportunity to go do your thing. We've got, what was it? I'm trying to remember now. 6 or 7 Confluence of
7.
Light.
Yeah.
Emblem codes to give away, thanks to Guardian JH Sweeps of the Dirt Fam. We just threw up a follow and retweet. This is like that old Confluence of Light code that I think was with the launch of Destiny 2, but we figure many of you may like to throw that into your collection. So thanks again to JH Sweeps. We'll leave that up a little while longer, maybe this reset. Might tweet out a reminder, but just go check it out if you're interested. Simple follow and retweet, and you will be entered for a chance to win.
There you go. Last week, I had the Loot Vault giveaway end, and we had a winner, of course, of all that swag, Mr. At Giuseppe Asoa, or something like that.
Congratulations.
I can't pronounce his Twitter handle, but he won. Congratulations. He's getting a Blue Yeti caster along with some awesome Destiny swag that's getting shipped his way. And yeah, and then finally on our Discord, we gave away some what was it called? Solstice of Heroes Moment of Triumph thing. T-shirt codes.
T-shirt code.
And we actually ended up with, I think, 7 of these.
7 of them. Yep.
Yeah. Once we announced that we were giving them out, a whole bunch of people popped up and say, "Oh, I have one. I have one." So
nice of you, Guardians. You
had some winners announced for those, right?
Yeah, we actually, winners, you know who you are. Actually, you know what? Why don't we just tell you who you are, just in case you missed it in the Discord. LL Whiskey, LL, Nipron, Midnight Jones, Dark Enforcer with some 4s in there, T Paul, JT, Cripple King, CK Shocker. You guys are all winners of these Moments of Triumph t-shirt codes. We did want to give a shout out, a special shout out to everybody that threw them our way, sent them our way. We really appreciate it to give back to the Dirt Fam and the Destiny community. Soldier on TV, Shadow Eyes, MD Slayer, Diabolic 36, Tifa Rose 36, and our Widow Son. You guys are very kind to send us your codes. Correction, MD Sailor. Did I say Slayer?
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. He needs to just change it to that.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyways, thank you guys so much for sending them in. Congratulations to the winners. And we just wanted to give a general shout out to anybody in the Dirt Fam and Destiny community. You guys are always so kind and giving. You give us stuff to give away, give back to the community. So that's what it's all about. So we really appreciate that.
That's right. All right, man. Now it's time for some news.
It is.
This week at Bungie, we prepared for our Last Wish. Of course, the Last Wish raid launched this Friday, and many teams attempted to take on the boss that I won't name just in case you miss. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They offered some unique rewards for this raid. A few different things. There, of course, was the world's first title belt that we talked about last week, as well as if you were able to complete the raid within the first 24 hours, there was a unique emblem called Wish Ascended that looks really cool.
Dude, I gotta say, it may just be the way they presented it here with the graphic in the background, but it's one of the best looking emblems, in my opinion. I think
it's very nice.
It's in the top 10, I think, for sure. And little did we know when they released this TWAB that I was already like, man, beating in the first 24 hours, like, that's awesome. I'm super glad they're going to get that. I'm probably not going to get this emblem. But then we realized very early on, very quickly, that beating it in 24 hours, period.
Tall order.
Yes. Big time.
They next offer I feel like a soothsayer, a jacket that you can purchase. I feel like I just talked about this last week. Let's say they would be selling merch with these Bungie rewards program. It's cool though. A unique raid jacket if you were able to complete the raid before the weekly reset. And apparently this guy is like $150. Nice looking, I don't know if you would call it like a bomber jacket or like a...
Looks like an Air Force jacket or something.
Yeah, so kind of like that. Yeah. Pretty cool.
It is cool, yeah.
Definitely want it.
I thought you might
be receiving it.
I'm not like, it's not the jackets and stuff. Maybe a hoodie. The jacket's cool. I mean, I would take it, but it's not something like I would so much go after or
I would just want it for the bragging rights, you know?
Right. Just hang it up. Wear it to the events.
Yep.
There you go.
So they offered some cool incentives for being among the first to complete the raid. And we'll come back to that. Next up, Iron Banner this reset. The game mode's Control. It starts Tuesday on the 18th, ends the following Tuesday, the 25th. Power matters. And it's not the only change.
We will see how much power matters.
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
About that.
We're going to talk all about that next week. Lord Saladin will present 7 weekly bounties for you to complete. Each bounty rewards you with an Iron Banner themed weapon, and 2 of these bounties in particular grant powerful rewards. And then they say there are no exceptions. All Iron Banner themed weapons and armor have the chance to be rewarded when bounties are completed. He will also offer armor for direct purchase, as well as 2 weapons with unique rolls per event. You can gain them by completing their associated bounties. They also mention the post-game rewards.
Yes,
will return post-match drops.
Oh man, I had to make a note of that. That's exciting.
Yes,
I'm assuming those won't be like powerful engram drops. I
doubt it, but
just be general drops.
Yeah, just the option to get drops on gear is awesome.
So nice with random rolls back on it. Yeah, and I'm sure if it's like the old days, we talked about this. It's such a good system. Saladin would have decent rolls that were pretty nice, and then you could keep grinding out if you wanted to try to get that better roll.
Yeah,
I did want to ask you. They say right off the top there, like if rating's not your thing or whatever. I'm kind of surprised only 2 of those bounties offer powerful engrams. So how much of an opportunity are you really going to get to boost your power level with Iron Banner, I wonder? I guess, of course we'll talk about this more after next reset. But it doesn't seem like, am I missing something? There's not going to be a ton of opportunities to increase your power level. Is there? I mean, there'll be the dailies, of course, and these 2 weekly bounties.
Right.
So initially it seems like not a ton of opportunity to increase your power, but we'll see. I say that just because
Crucible.
Right. Yeah. I say that just because they kind of mention it as like an alternative if rating's not your thing, but really You're not, other than, of course, the fun factor and other systems in the game, Iron Banner itself doesn't seem like it's going to increase your power too much.
Not dramatically, but that's always been the case.
Yeah, true.
You know, the raid and other in-game PvE activities have been a bigger...
Where that happens the most.
Reward source. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some cool looking armor and weapons here. What do you think about the theme this season?
I like it. You know, I always have to make sure I don't get caught up on colors because, of course, you can change that with shaders because that's not.
It's like a reddish brown.
Yeah. Now I say that. I mean, they kind of got like a current Destiny reset colored theme going there, which is cool. But other than that, those typically aren't the colors that I would choose. But I like I like the theme. The Titan. I don't know. It's still growing on me. I like I think the weapons look cool. Like the, probably, what is that? Auto or a pulse that's in the Titan's hand. But the armor, I'm still trying to decide. The verdict's still out.
Verdict's still out. I like it. I think I like last season's design better, but it's cool. It's a cool variant on Shredder. It. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Can't top that.
Yeah.
The weapons skin looks really cool though. It's like a rusty, kind of, I don't know. And then it has the print on the non-rusty part of the gun.
So do we think this will be like the reset of the gear? Like this will be the gear and then we'll get some ornaments following? Or is this just another ornament on top of what we've already been earning?
Well, I do expect that this will be a unique
set.
Yeah, a unique set, but that's been something that a few people brought up this week when we were talking about like the new Vanguard and Crucible gear and stuff like that. You know, our expectation or assumption would be that as the seasons progress this year, you know, we'll get ornaments on all those sets and get a different look every season. You know, that's not guaranteed, but that's how they did it last year.
It works pretty well. I mean,
I think so.
It allows you, to grind for sometimes decently different looking pieces.
Yeah.
Just being an ornament. So I like that system.
Next up, they showed, as they always do, about a week into an expansion, they show off some art. And with no exception, they've got a series of artist profiles that you can go check out. With cool concept and all types of different art pieces from Destiny Forsaken. So if you're into the art of Destiny, I would go check this out. There's some really beautiful looking stuff in here.
Yeah, such talented people, man. I immediately had to scroll through there and find some Dreaming City stuff. I mean, it's all amazing, but I'm like, the Dreaming City is so stunning right now. I had to go in and kind of see, okay, somebody in here that specifically worked on that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For a long time, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Very long time.
Next up, they announced some bounties. They're going to be running Bungie bounties from September 17th through October 21st. And they've got a sort of weekly schedule. Of course, when the bounty is active during their 2-hour block, if you defeat them, you'll be rewarded with the Sign of Mutual Combat emblem. Some will be in Crucible, some will play Gambit. So they've got a series of players. I don't know all these folks. I know some of them. But to list them off, Unknown Player, Zero.tv, CTSG, Dr. Lupo, Noob Work, We Love Games, Zombies Factory, Steve Aoki, Shadow Hearts, Backdraft, Daikiri, and Atomic Jorge. I just have to mention there's only, I think, I was trying to read what these were, but I'm pretty sure it was like 2 of these or maybe Xbox.
Really?
I think so. I might be wrong. Some of them, it shows where they are going to be streaming and stuff. And I thought I remembered looking at this and it showed what platform. Maybe it was something else. I'll have to double check on that. But they're all over the world. I mean, we've got from Mexico to Japan to flags in here I don't recognize. So France, I mean, all over.
It's all over.
Yeah. So try to take your shot if you can. That gamer, see if you can defeat them. Get that Bungie bounty emblem.
Do like I did one time and queue up into a couple games and then realize you're on the wrong platform.
These things happen.
It does happen. It seems like a total noob mistake, but it can happen, guys. Don't think you can't do that. It's easy to do. Don't assume they're on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like Cyborg said.
Check. Next up, for the second year in a row, Bungie will have an away team at EGX in Birmingham, United Kingdom. They'll have a setup to play Gambit or the Warden of Nothing Strike. They'll have the Gambit emblem code they're giving out to give out at the other events, and then they also have a couple meet and greets, I think, and a discussion panel about building the Dreaming City.
Oh,
I'd love to see that.
Yes, I would love to.
Yeah,
very much.
And they are going to have, let's see, I think the panelists on that will be Deej, Steve Cotton, Mallory Schleif, Andrew Hops, and Tom Farnsworth. Hopefully they will have a capture of that. That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Would think. I would definitely love to be able to watch that.
We've got a patch coming in, 2.0.3 hotfix. They're going to work on some issues that they've been aware of since launch. One with weapon recoil on PC, another with the Traveler's Chosen sidearm, an issue with daily clan bounties not rotating properly each day. Right now, they're pretty much, it's the same option every day after reset. And then players will be given the option to reconnect to competitive matches when encountering errors that remove them to the login screen. That's a big deal for those guys running comp. I know. I have friends running it. And when they get disconnected, it's not fun.
Not a good thing.
Yep. Now, this week, there were two hot fixes, 0.02 and 0.2.1. Some various things were repaired. There will be patch notes for 0.03 or 0.3 on Tuesday. Full patch notes. They've got an article in here about prime and powerful gear. So they're trying to explain a little bit more clearly about the differences between those. If you don't know, go read this. It's a little helpful. Have you been getting some prime engrams out there?
Yes.
Arrow?
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, we talked about it. I, get them almost immediately in my play session, and other times it's hours in, which is how they work. I really enjoy prime engrams because
I do too.
I can still take them to the Cryptarch. No, I do like to get them. They're exciting, but yeah, they are the only engram you can take to the Cryptarch. I feel like this is a great opportunity to throw this in real quick. We mentioned it last week. We threw up a tweet just asking what you guys preferred, the auto decode or taking your engrams to the Cryptarch. And dude, surprisingly, man, 245 votes, 48% like the auto decode, 33% like to take them to Raul, and 19% the whatevs. They don't care. So, I will say after playing a whole reset, at least we almost have a system where they're, both is in play, like I asked for last week. Granted, you do only get one prime engram a play session, but it is nice because you usually get it in a play session. If you're playing at least 2 hours or so, and you can always still make that trip to the tower, because I still make that trip to the tower, man. It's like, may have some stuff in the postmaster, got to do some cleanup before I log off. It's just like part of the process. So it's nice to at least have that prime engram in there.
For sure.
What about you? You've been getting them because they're a cooldown, right? You should get your prime attunement or whatever. You get this buff, for the listeners that aren't 100% clear. Each time you log in, there's a bit of a reset on it. And
every day
basically,
it resets.
it allows you to get your prime engram. Now, obviously, you need to be, thinking about a full day's play. If you're just logging on every evening, you're probably good. But if you're logging on, like, obviously, 5 to 8 hours later, there's a chance, of course, that buff may not return for a little while longer. But you can see it on your character screen.
It's totally random how long it lasts. Once you lose it for the day, it's gone until reset of that next day. But how long it lasts is totally random. I had a day where I got 5 prime engrams to drop.
Oh, wow.
And then I've had a day where it was just 1.
Oh, wow. I only ever get 1, dude.
Oh, yeah. If you play long enough, if you get lucky for that buff to stick around, I mean, you can continue to get them.
What?
It helps to be killing lots and lots of enemies.
Yeah. Well, they come from yellow bars, right? Or the Crucible. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't always know. Sometimes I just see it on the ground. I'm like, oh, something pretty, and I go roll over it.
I know, dude. I always slowly walk up to it, and I'm like, okay, is this gonna auto decode, or am I gonna get that engram popped up on my screen? I think a way to balance this whole conversation we had last week about this is if they make exotic engrams an engram again, I feel like we'll be at a nice balance of auto decode and still taking engrams to Raul. I think exotics, maybe, come on, Bungie, if you're listening, maybe we should still take those to Raul. I was going to ask you, because I've been meaning to look up myself, and I haven't yet. I know they've mentioned it in a TWAB previously. What do you remember the daily reset time? Is it the same as a weekly reset time, or is it? I thought it was later in the day.
I was thinking about that at 4:00 this morning, and.
Remember the old days, dude, when we would be doing a trials run and it's like 3 a.m. and it's about to reset an hour later.
And I need to double check on the daily, because in the back of my mind, I want to say I've seen a couple people mention that the daily was at the old weekly time, but I'm not 100% on that. I know the weekly reset happens at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, it's like Tuesdays. Midday now.
Yeah.
Which is nice, at least for our time zone, because it's not when you're staying up late.
I was under the impression when they changed that would be the daily time too. But for a long time, there wasn't there wasn't a lot to really indicate when that was, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
Now you could probably tell if it was the midweek reset or if your daily challenge popped up, but I couldn't tell you 100%.
Yeah, we'll have to do our research, listeners, and maybe we'll be able to help you guys.
I'll see if I can tweet somebody and find out.
Yeah, if you don't know yourself already.
Yeah,
that's important information. We need to get that in our brains, especially now with these daily resets.
Yep. Okay. Gambit suspensions and disconnects. They've had some issues causing exceptional load times and disconnects in the Gambit playlist. So they have removed quitter penalties temporarily to prevent people from being locked out. I think that's a good move. I've had a couple buddies accidentally get locked out because they got disconnected.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a short, like 30-minute lockout, but even that sucks if you're trying to get something done, right?
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
And then they have some known issues. One big one has been with a piece of not gear, but an item that will drop called the Offering to the Oracle. Make sure if you're working on that in the Dreaming City that you have room in your consumables inventory. If it drops and it is full, it will not go to Postmaster. I had this happen to a friend of mine. It really sucks because that part of that leads to a powerful drop. Yeah. And you're going to want that.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that popping up on my Twitter feed and stuff. People wondering where it went and this or that. And then sure enough, here we go. We get some information.
Yep. And then there's some other ones as well. Go check those out if you're having any weird issues. They may know. Finally, we had our movies of the week. they had a pretty cool montage. Drewski and Bakken put together a dual tage.
Yeah. That's neat.
You see, this is really cool, man.
Yeah, very cool. It's all about the editing, man. I mean, of course, and the skill as well.
Yeah,
but the
the raw footage,
always,
but the editing makes it look, enjoyable to watch.
So good, yeah.
So go check that out if you're into the montages. Then we've got an honorable mention called Anti-Air Missile. I never thought about doing this, but it's a Titan using the new Striker Super to launch himself as a missile into the Taken, or not Taken, the Red Legion ship on the public event on the EDZ, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is on Nessus, but yeah, smart move. I want to get that Super, but I don't have my third Sea to Light yet.
Yep.
Working on that.
Yep. I'm happy we'll talk about a reset, but I did get a second, but yeah, no third.
And some interesting teases this week about post-raid stuff to cap off. Cosmo says, remember, the completion of the raid is only the beginning. And a few, I think Joe, I always want to call him Joe Golgoroth.
I do too. That's so funny.
Goroth. Because his handle is Joe Goroth. Mm-hmm. But it's Joe Blackburn, which is the Destiny raid team lead. I think he's mentioned a couple times on Twitter as well that there is more that's on the way after the raid is cleared. Right. Of course, we saw some of those things happen this week, but
we'll talk about some of them. But the way they're making it sound, it's like well beyond that. What we've already seen this weekend. Yeah. Which is cool stuff.
Well, we talked some about the raid, and in the news, of course, we have to give credit where it's due, to Team Redeem taking home the gold again, man.
Oh yeah.
These guys are killing it. This is their 4th world's first.
Crazy.
And I think they clocked in at 19 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get the final time, because I know that's just, dude, the story. I went home Friday night after work, did the thing, hung out with the family, all that good stuff, sat down, everybody's asleep, logged into Destiny. And my fire team's like, we played for just a little bit. It was already kind of late. And they're like, I think I'm going to log off and go watch them, see if they've finished the raid yet. And I just assumed. Like, I watched a good portion of it throughout the day, and I'm like, they probably finished it like on my drive home or something. And I'm like, wait, what? They have not finished it? So then I loaded up, and of course, no spoilers, but I'm like, no, they have not finished it. This is insane, like crazy cool. Because
race went on long into the night.
Dude. Some of the teams, Dato's team was just past the 24-hour mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So as much, dude, we talk about this every time, as much as I want to go in blind, someday in Destiny I will do this, but I love watching the race, man. Like I enjoy it so much. It's so exciting. So, I watched it, here and there throughout the day, in between work and stuff. And, anyways, I'm sure you're probably going in blind. We haven't really talked about it, but,
we were attempting to, and, so you've probably seen more of the raid than I have at this point.
Yes, but, I have. Mouth is shut.
It's hard not to catch little tidbits of things. I don't have any real spoilers on, what mechanics are. And I know like names of some bosses and, some checkpoints and stuff, which that's spoiled if you can actually see that in the triumphs, for the raid. So it was kind of hard to avoid some of that stuff, but if you're listening, wherever you kind of fall on that, a lot of people watch the race, and it seemed to be a pretty exciting one. I kind of kept up just with the standings, I did see a clip that is amazing that you've got to go check out. It's the team with Broman, Goth, I think it was T-Rex, Gunny, Char, and who was their 6th? I do not recall, but they're at the first encounter and Gunny pulls off an amazing hero moment. Everybody was down. They were all dead but him. And they have this new mechanic in the raids now with the raid timer, where once you die, you know, in Destiny 2 proper and in the raid layers, you basically had a 30-second timer to res somebody. But now it's almost like a game clock. You know, once somebody dies, you've got, I think it goes up to 2.5 minutes is the total. And you've got that amount of time to pull all the reses up. And, so he had some time to play around with and was able to just get that last iota of health knocked out on the boss and clutch it and prevent, you know, a full wipe when they were almost done. It was awesome. So that was pretty cool. That was really cool.
I was going to say too, this isn't a spoiler. You actually probably, I guess, could see it in that clip, but it's really cool. They, the bosses have the, what you see at the end of the campaign with the final boss. They have what a lot of people seem to like is that health bar at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, they do, man.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot.
It's so cool. Yep, yeah. I love it.
Because it gives you, an easier to access, you know, item on your HUD to see where the boss damage is.
Yeah, like what your fire team status is.
Yeah,
taking this,
you don't have to go scope in on the boss.
Yeah, it's cool. Such a simple thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really on my radar, but
no. I mean,
it seems like everybody loves it.
It wasn't on anybody's wish list, but it's a great quality of life thing. Mm-hmm. But again, congrats to that world's first. Congrats to anybody that actually finished this raid. I think as of earlier today, I want to say there was maybe 14 teams that have completed it. Yeah.
Congrats to all of you. Yep.
Yeah. Overall, this thing is a monster. It seems so. And I want to talk about that a little bit, but first, they promised, you know, early on how the Dreaming City would evolve, how things that you would do inside and in the raid would change the world for everyone. And as promised, at the first completion of the raid, some things did pop up. So there was if you went to the Dreaming City, there was actually a little cutscene with Petra. And yeah, I'm not going to get into details on what happens and stuff in case it's a cool thing just to go check out for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you didn't get to play this weekend or what have you, it's really interesting. So there's a cutscene and there is a mission that you can complete, as well as the third strike opened up, which, oh my gosh, man, this strike is incredible. Have you played it?
No, I haven't, man. Actually, I've only played one, maybe two. There's 3 strikes, one extra on PlayStation, right? And this one made 4. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've only played 2. I don't even think I've played. What's the Warden one? We mentioned it already in the show. I think that everyone's loving that one, right? I don't think I've played that one yet.
You need to go play that.
Yeah. I played a lot of strikes like in the playlist, but I haven't like went to play them individually, and I haven't played them all yet. So,
we all were convinced Warden of Nothing was our new favorite strike, and now this one is incredible. It's expansive. Mm-hmm. It's got its own whole like area, like region that you go through to play it. You know, a lot of the times you're doing strikes and you're going through regions you've been through before. Right. This is like Warden of Nothing, like totally unique, built out for this strike. Really interesting, mechanic to it. It's really cool, man. Cool. They brought their A game for these strikes, and I'm pretty pleased with that. Cool. And then there was also was there one new bounty? Or there was more than one. There was one for Dreaming City, and then there was a new Gambit bounty as well that offers powerful gear. And I think there's actually, we don't have it in our notes, I just remembered, isn't there a new Gambit Dreaming City map that launched as well? Yeah, I want to play it, dude. I haven't yet. It's good. I like it. I think it's probably I think that is probably tied for my favorite with that one and the EDZ map. Okay.
Yeah,
like
I
it a
still
lot.
haven't played like a ton of Gambit. I've been doing all the other things, just waiting. I know Gambit's just sitting there waiting. I have played a decent amount, but I haven't been back in since that map dropped.
I feel like I've played a considerable amount, but then I have friends that are, their infamy is like almost 10,000.
Yeah, about the
And mine
reset
is
already.
almost like mine's almost 4, and I felt like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And then I look on Reddit and there's a guy that's reset 4 times now.
Yep.
Like,
And
which
it is
like,
that fun. Yeah.
that's 60,000 like infamy points. Like they must only be playing that 8 hours a day.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I know.
it helps to get on win streaks and stuff, but you know, Gambit matches are not short.
Not at all.
But man, I want to talk about this in the reset, but Gambit is so much fun, man. I'm enjoying it so much.
Yeah, 100% agree.
But let's talk about the raid for a minute while it's kind of on the chopping board, so to speak.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, we've both been playing Destiny a long time. You know, you were a raider back in the day. Still deep inside, there's a raider in there.
Right, there is.
So
after the Crucible,
there's a couple angles of what this raid is that is worth discussion, because part of it is the challenge and the depth of the raid that we've been presented with. And then the other part of it is, the Delta part of it, you know, the Delta challenge, what your power is and what it's required to be to go in and actually complete it. So, if you're not aware, the recommended light for the raid was 550. The first encounter, strangely enough, starts, I'm pretty sure it's at 560. And then it scales up each encounter. From what I was told, I can't confirm this personally, but it goes up 5 points on each encounter up to 580 for the last encounter. And ultimately that is a pretty big gear check. And so our experience, you know, we went in knowing that there was definitely people, that play a lot more, that were going to have a better advantage on power. My team all went in like basically mid 530s and felt like we had gotten pretty far, you know. Yeah. There were, you know, folks going at like 550 and stuff, but it takes some really significant work, to be able to accomplish that by the time the raid released.
that's even, we get more time than ever before. Yep.
Yeah. And so, going in, you know, the first encounter, we're at a power level that we can potentially do it. It's really punishing. I mean, enemies 20 plus power level above you, you know, you die if they breathe on you. I mean, you gotta really execute. I mean, you don't have much forgiveness at all. On top of not having a big toolbox of gear to draw on, because you've got to put on your most powerful stuff and you don't have everything that's going to be at that same power level. And we were able to figure out the first mechanic pretty quick. Probably within like 30 minutes, you know, sorted out exactly how we felt like it was supposed to go. But the DPS was gonna be an issue. I mean, we were able to figure out the math on it, you know, after wipes, and we're pretty sure that boss had we were pretty sure of what the boss health pool was, and we were able to get some phases, that if we were able to duplicate that across multiple DPS phases, we could do it. The issue was everybody staying alive, you know, with that power check, to get through those phases. And so I think we were at it for maybe like 3 hours
Wow.
4 hours. To everybody, you get tired and everybody's kind of like, all right, we're not doing as well as we were an hour ago. Like this is devolving, you have that happens anytime you're raiding late at night. Like,
oh yeah. Yep.
You can, but you just kind of, your brain gets tired. You don't execute as well.
Right. Yep.
And that's fine. Like that's part of
Every
raiding
raider knows what you're talking
and
about.
stamina and stuff. But ultimately for me and for our team, what made us feel really bad was knowing that even if we could get through that encounter, even if we get a powerful drop, there was literally no way that we would make it far enough to complete the final encounter and even do this before the reset. We were all done with most of our powerful drops for the week. We'd have to get really lucky along the way with drops to power up along the raid. And basically knowing that there was not a snowball's chance in hell that we were going to finish this thing was a little bit,
Discouraging.
off-putting. It was discouraging because I've been raiding for years now, for 4 years, and never had this problem since Vaulted Glass. Now, what's interesting is how much this relates to Vaulted Glass. Vaulted Glass first run clocked in at 14 hours and had a huge gear check. I mean, if you were around for Destiny Vanilla, the power climb was insanely difficult. I mean, you had to get mega lucky. Stuff was few and far between. There was one place, maybe two, to get the drops that you needed, and it was from the raid,
Yep. It's like, I just need the boots. Come on, boots.
Oh, yeah.
Run all 3 characters.
Forever 29 was a real thing.
Yes.
And I felt like as a game, it's come a long way since then. That was an interesting first shot at what they were trying to do, but I won't say that it was a failure, but it was a learning experience, I think, for the team of what is realistic and what is fun for people to do. And everybody looks back and loves the design and the activity of Vaulted Glass, but I don't think many people liked how punishing it was to actually try to beat it without having the gear that you need. And so there's two different, I guess, facets of this is, there's the challenge of the raid, which is, being able to have the skill and the mental know-how to solve it and play it and beat it. And then there's the gear check. And I have no quarrel with having a difficult or challenging raid, but the gear check feels like an artificial, kind of, I don't know what you would call it. Something, it's something that slows you down that you can't quite overcome without really good RNG or a hell of a lot of time that I don't have.
Right.
And so I guess my attitude at this point is I don't know, like I'm disappointed, but I'm not, worked up about it. I'm not enraged by how this is played out. On one hand, it's cool that there's something to pursue and work towards. And I like that, but on the other hand, 2 weeks in, after I've played, I don't know how many hours. I mean, it's closing in on 100 and I still don't have what I need in my toolbox to go and finish this thing. Like, why is the bar so high? I feel like we're kind of past that sort of elite, perspective on what rating should be in Destiny. And people have different attitudes. Some people are upset and they're saying, well, Bungie made it this way as fan service to people that play this game for a living. And that's the only people that would be able to do this. And then there's other people who are saying, well, I don't have a problem with this. I'm not in a hurry and it's fine because when I'm, 570, I'll go in and do it. But I'm just disappointed I can't enjoy the content. Like, this is the pinnacle for me of every expansion, and I can't do it. And I'm disappointed that I can't go in and at least like take a shot at all the encounters of the raid. I have to wait till next week, basically. At the earliest, assuming everybody can get up in the 540s and give it a shot. So I don't know, man. What do you think about all this?
Well, I mean, there's so many layers here that are playing a part in this. Just as a status update for me, I mean, I've put in a good amount of time into this expansion already. I'm playing every night. I'm not getting as much sleep as I normally do. And I just hit 520 today, man. And granted, now I did go ahead and level my hunter, and I've decided like I definitely wanted to level my hunter, and I'm probably going to go ahead and start working on my warlock. With all the content we have here, even though there's plenty of grind to do on one character, I just kind of want to get my 3 characters there quicker this go around, 3rd character period. But for me, 520 is where I'm at. So I, again, watch the race. I enjoy watching the race. Jumping in day one is never anything. I won't say never, but at least in the past many expansions, not anything that's on my radar. I know I'm going to jump in later than a lot of Guardians that want to get in there and do it. Now, it is different knowing that I can't. I mean, I loaded in. I always like to just load in, and run as far as I can. So I did load into the raid and like make it to the first encounter by myself. I just wanted to like look around and stuff like that. And I had already seen, that encounter and many others. So I knew when I got to that point, but as far as the actual like difficulty level, I feel like maybe there's part of the problem is there's nothing between like a transition from the strike to the raid. And racing for worlds first. I mean, I always joke and call you the raid machine. I as we know, I raided back in the day, and I've kind of started leaning more towards Crucible as time has went on. And I do, of course, I enjoy raiding, but you're always in there, man. You're day one, you're ready to go, you get your fire team ready, and you want to try and do it blind. Last time you even were going to go for worlds first, and just see what you guys could do. And I completely get it, man. Like you can't do it. Like even with the extra time, it wasn't an option for you to try to do that. You just, you don't have the time. And I wouldn't call us, we're not casual players. I mean, Destiny is what we play 90% of our gaming time, and we put in some time. Now, I think the other important thing is like the power grind for me. I don't feel like the actual power grind in the base of this expansion is tedious or isn't fun. Like it does feel fun and rewarding, and the dailies really add to that. And I am enjoying the power grind. But I think the answer is, I think IGN put up a post, Fireteam Chat guys, and there's like, with King's Fall, I think, don't quote me on exact numbers, but I think it was like 50,000 people at this point had beaten King's Fall. And you kind of mentioned
it was,
some numbers
I found, I read the stat too. 37,000 people cleared King's Fall in the first 24 hours.
And then it's like less than 2,000 right now, right?
And in the first 24 hours of this game, it was less than 16 or something.
Yeah. So
it was like 18 maybe.
So again, this is where like the multiple layers I think come in. Like I feel like going for worlds first is something that maybe more Guardians should be able to attempt. I see what they were going for here, and I love that there's this activity that you have to work towards. I love that I'm not going to be able to jump in there for a few weeks, but I feel like maybe there's something learned here from the community and the Bungie team. Maybe the normal version of the raid isn't where you put the gear check. Maybe the normal version, because there's so much community like enrichment there. People want to go for worlds first. They want to jump in the raid. They want to try to beat it, at least, within the first reset or two. Maybe keep that similar to what it's always been and really amp up the heroic raid game, right? And really throw some rewards in there that make you want to do it. I'm not saying like change the encounters or go crazy with it. Just maybe the gear check aspect of it really amp that up in the heroic version and reward people for completing it. I don't know. Again, there's many layers. There's a tier there missing, right? I always want strikes to be valuable. Those are our dungeons, if you will, like I've mentioned before. Granted, we're kind of in a little interesting spot there with strikes right now too. But they don't always feel like something you can keep running and running and running. But there's a gap there, right? It seems like from strikes to the raid. And right now that is it. You can get powerful gear other ways, the Dreaming City, what have you. Well, there is the Blind Well too, I guess. So, there is that, but the raid is the pinnacle thing. Like you said, it is the next step. It is what you are ultimately prepping for.
Right.
And you can't even experience it. So I feel like maybe an answer is amp up and throw those gear checks in, like I said, on a heroic version, and maybe not this normal version, right? So I don't know. That's just a thought. As I'm listening to you, just different ideas. Yeah.
You bring up an important part that the power climb, as they have designed it, I feel
I'm enjoying it.
I feel it's rewarding. I feel it's fun. I don't want to climb to max power, in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
It gives me something to feel like I'm always progressing, and, it feels really satisfying after you get, a series of those drops. You're like, yeah, I bumped up, 5 points tonight. You feel great.
Right.
You feel like you accomplished something, and you do. And so my questions are, just kind of thinking about the big picture. Did they fail to anticipate where people would be at that point? Did they overshoot it? Did they think people would be further along, or maybe more people, more people would be higher? Did they intend it to be
right? Yeah. That's,
at this point?
my whole opinion is it being intended, maybe
part of it is after so many years of them putting out this content, I want to give them the respect of, if they're trying to do something different with how this plays out, I want to offer that the respect it deserves, because, this is just the first weekend. In the long run, eventually, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do the raid, I'm going to master it. It's going to be amazing. Everybody that's played the raid and beat it have said, like, this is the best they've ever done. And I'm excited, and I want to experience that. It just burns that I can't right now. And
I feel like that feeling is different than, like, say, hitting max light or max power. Like that, I guess I'm trying to separate it from, I can see some people's immediate rebuttal to be, well, I mean, that's just part of it. You're going to have to wait until you're high enough power. That's what they've done. But I feel like your thoughts and feelings on that are a little different than, just trying to.
I'm not upset because I can't get worlds first. I'm not upset because I can't beat it in the first day. I'm a little burned that I can't even do it in the first week that it's
try
up.
it. Yeah.
I don't even know if I'll be able to do it next week. I mean, we'll certainly try, and we're going to go in tomorrow night and give it another shot at knocking out that first boss, just so we can try to master that, get a drop, go to the next boss, check it out. You see what we need to have to go into it, prepare. I mean, that's what people did a lot for Vaulted Glass. So I'm not a stranger to how we might need to approach this. It's like you said, though, there's just a lot of layers that play into what this is and how it plays out. And it's a tough pill to swallow. Like you said, you and I'm not a casual player. I don't think by most definitions. I mean, I've played 8+ hours a day since I took off launch day. I played like 18 hours. I mean, I have a ton of time in, and playing that much, I'm thinking like, okay, I'll be somewhat prepared to go into this, and playing that much, I can't do it. Who is that meant for then?
True.
It's such a small percentage of players that would be lucky and have the time to put in to actually even compete in that contest. And that's why I think some people are a little upset and salty about it, because it kind of does come down to the unemployed and the Destiny employed, right? And is that what Bungie wants that contest to be? I mean, don't get me wrong. Those guys that play as entertainers and content creators and, do that for a living, I have a ton of respect for them. They're some of the best players in the game, and I'm not nearly as good as they are. And I don't want to be of the mind that Bungie should artificially level the playing field. You know, I've talked about this a lot with a lot of different people this week. I've talked with people who said, well, they really should have pushed this out a week. I've talked with people who said, well, they should have lowered the power, level for the raid. I mean, there's different ways to solve it. Ultimately, I like the timing. Like, I like it being on the second week if I was able to play it, and I'm not even upset if I wouldn't be able to compete. But I feel like more Guardians should have been able to compete. If you put in 100+ hours and you're not ready, a lot of people are comparing this to WoW, and they're like, well, in WoW, there were raids that took months to complete it took a week to get world's first and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is not an MMO, dude. Like, you got to get out of that mindset if that's what you're comparing and thinking about, because that is not the player base for this game. I mean, maybe there is a lot of ex-WoW players in this player base, but you know why they're playing this and not WoW? Because WoW is a game that you have to play 24 hours a day. Like, if you wanted to raid in WoW and accomplish things like this, it was your job. And that's great. That was a really unique experience to video gaming. And there's a reason why I never played WoW, because I also would like to live in the real world, And where's that balance? I don't know where that fits in.
Yeah, I feel like, Destiny has those MMO aspects, but it is definitely, I don't think, many people have used the term MMO light. Even we have, I think. I don't think that describes it. It's not that. It's just different. It's a different experience, and you do have to put in time to do certain things. But I think that's why I think it's important. Well, one, for all our listeners, as I'm sure you do, it's important just to hear each side of everything, because for me, going into our conversation on this, my mentality for me personally as a Destiny player, like I've already said, is like, I pretty much know I'm probably not going to jump in the first week. So I've already got my mindset there. So, I'm thinking, I like this. I like that there is a power grind to get in the raid, not only, and to even get through it. But, that's initially where my thoughts were, and talking it out with you right now. I think it's important that you say how much you've played and how much you've put in. Neither one of us are casuals, and your goal is to jump into the raid. Your mindset's different than mine, and you put in the time, 8+ a day while you're working full time doing the thing like we do, and you just aren't able to complete it. And that's why I think it's it's important to acknowledge that's different than just saying like, I can't hit max power and, like, what is this grind about? You're not saying that at all. You're just saying, after a week and a half, 2 weeks worth of putting in the time and trying to get raid ready, you just flat out can't even attempt this thing, 100 hours in, So again, I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. I feel like maybe onto something with the heroic thing.
I think that I don't know. That by itself is what is making me wonder if that is really what their intention was. It's a little hard for me to accept if that is their full intention. It makes me wonder a bit if the power climb was it's slower than intended, or if it might just be the fact that they set a number that they felt could be realistic, and when it got put out into the world, it wasn't. I mean, how much did and could they test that to know, right?
Right.
I mean, obviously they have their test team. They have guys that, it's their job to kind of play out the build and play out the end game. They brought in players that they hired as contractors to work on that. I don't know, man. Maybe we'll have a better idea of this, you know, further down the road. I just know where we are today. And the thing is, what I do want to say is that every other aspect of this expansion, I'm so happy with. Mm-hmm. The gunplay, the new weapons, random rolls, the armor, and the pieces, mods, and
even the power leveling or the grind.
Yeah, the grind on it.
Normally, at this point, you would think, you know, a lot of the community would be like, "Man, this is painful. Like, what is going on here?" And whatever's at play, whether it's the dailies or whatever, it's fun. The power climb is fun right now. So, yeah,
it's just a little. It's hard to understand, and especially after they've been doing this a while. I feel like they should kind of have it down, you know, how these things should play out. And, you know, the biggest analogy for this expansion has been comparing it from the Taken King. It's the closest thing that we've had to this. And the Taken King played out beautifully, you know, and I went in and we conquered that raid the first weekend. And it was a challenging raid. I mean, that was a very technical raid. It had its own gear check to it, but it wasn't impossible or improbable. But you know, we put the stats out there. This raid is a wholly different beast. And, you know, I like that challenge. I like that they have made something that streamers went in and they cleared encounters and they still didn't know the mechanics. Yeah. Like, a couple of them were like, we just got lucky. I still don't know how that's supposed to be done. And that cracks me up. And like the biggest satisfaction and the reason I like to go in and do the raids blind is the intellectual satisfaction of going in with my team and figuring out those mechanics on our own and then executing that. I get a ton of satisfaction figuring those things out for myself. That's why I do it. That's why I like it. And, so I'm really looking forward to that. Like, I'm really looking forward to going to each encounter and figuring those things out and conquering them, you know? So just let me do it.
Oh man.
How much do I have to pay? How much skin do I have to peel off?
Just let me do
to
it.
Get in there, man. All right. Well, that's my diatribe and my feelings on that. I'm sure that my opinion will evolve a bit on this and maybe we'll have more information as things progress. But, in the end, you know, people will power up and they'll get a chance, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this as we dive in. And just to tell you listeners, you know, Cyborg usually jumps in those raids a little bit quicker than I do. I jump in the Crucible so quick these days. We'll talk about that in Reset in a minute, but we will break down the raid at some point, guys. We just don't like to do it too soon. We'll talk about the encounters and all that good stuff in the weeks to come.
Absolutely. So, especially once I actually play the whole thing.
Yes, once he can actually get through the whole thing, and then I finally do. So,
yeah. But after all that said, I mean, props and a shout out to everybody that's actually beat this thing and, you know, worked really hard to do that. Yeah, I got to give them credit. You know, that's a lot of work and then a lot of, skill and a little bit of luck to clear that thing. So congrats to those, men and women that, were able to do that. I've kind of watched on Twitter as slowly but surely more teams come in and some players I really respect be able to close that out. And I'm really, really proud of those guys. So yeah,
I've watched some of the encounters, man, and I'm like nervous. I'm nervous to go in this thing, even when I'm ready and have the power level needed.
I'll say this, man, like I am like a little schoolgirl with all the story implications of what's going on in this game world and what's going on with the Awoken and the enemies that we're facing and are being teased. I'm just losing it.
And how cool is it too, you know, just to put a little emphasis on that, like the first team to beat it, you know, and of course there are several after, like opened up stuff for the rest of the community to experience.
That's really cool,
That's
man.
gotta feel cool for them and for the rest of us. I'm like, people were throwing up on their Twitter feed, like, log in and go to the Dreaming City now.
Right.
That's such a cool, that's next level for Bungie, right? Like, that's really cool. We've never, not too many times, if ever, have we gotten something like that, especially related to the raid. And then for them to keep telling us, like, it's, you know, there's more.
So they keep teasing that, man. There's more. Just this week, I mean, you know, I think maybe just on Saturday, there was found on Nessus. There's a little, you should call it like a plaque or like a plate, circular plate that was found in the raid. Nobody knows really, what it does or what it pertains to. It's got some symbology that some of it is present throughout the raid. And they found a similar one on Nessus. So now the hunt's on. People are trying to figure out, well, what does this do? How does it relate? Are there other ones that we need to find? You know, what do we do?
How cool is that, man?
And
like, it's so cool.
It was funny. Joe Gogoroth, he tweeted, he said, be careful last time you did that. You know, you tried to do something, you unleashed a curse. So everybody's
like, well,
cool
what is that, right?
What are we going to do? You know, what's going to happen if we do this?
And that they're in our, you know, previous game worlds, from the base game and stuff like that. And that's another thing the community asked for the longest time that we've covered, is just the hint of, like, mysterious things out there that need to be solved or found. Just that ignites.
There's still people are still
right?
finding stuff, man. And I love that.
It's so good.
Yeah,
so cool.
You know, we're like, there's some of this stuff I would love to talk about in depth, but because it just happened, you know, there's players I'm sure that didn't get a chance to go check this out, and like, these are things that I would want to experience in the game and not have it spoiled. So maybe next week we'll talk about some of the details and, you know, what was going on. But dude, I cannot be more satisfied with, like, the story and the lore of what they are delivering in terms of this expansion.
I had the moment this weekend. I mean, I've had it many times playing this last reset or two, and I just don't. I'm like, okay, I have this plan of when I'm going to go to bed. I'm usually pretty spot on with that. And I'm like overwhelmed with this feeling of I'm having so much fun and I just want to keep playing. Okay, I'm going to stay up later. It's okay. I'll be fine without this much sleep.
You know, it's really good and really fun when there's that one more, I'm going to do this one more thing. And then an hour and a half because we're like, holy crap, I've got to go to bed. But there's this one last thing I want to do.
One more thing.
You know?
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It'll be okay.
It's so fun though, man. I'm having such a blast, just hanging out with my buds and grinding through this stuff. And I mean, I'm only barely able to keep up with 2 characters right now. I've been keeping up with all the powerful stuff on my Titan. But I'm trying to get my Warlock kind of, it helps a lot with the power climb to be running multiple characters. Because just like in, you know, other expansions, you can throw your powerful guns on your other guy and he's getting a little boost. And then by the time you do all your powerful activities, you're a little bit higher. Maybe you can get better weapons, move them over. So I'm trying to do that, but there's so much to do. I think doing the math, there's something like 27 plus powerful drops a week. I mean, that's a lot of activities.
Yeah, that's a ton. Yep. Yeah, I'm doing my classic, focusing on one main character, but this go around, I'm like, I really want to have 3 characters to jump back and forth on if I want to, and be able to experience, you know, those subclasses and stuff. And like I said last week, it worked out well for me because I recently leveled my second, and then I used that little, in other words, I think that it was called something else this time, but the Spark of Light, for my Warlock. So yeah, dude, it's man, there's plenty to do on one character. So yeah, just that. So much, especially across 3. I'm having a blast. I'm having so much fun. And it feels like on a daily, you know, you don't feel so rushed to do your weekly stuff. You can, of course, but like I jump in a lot, like right now and leveling those other characters, I'll do my dailies and I'll see where I'm at on my weeklies. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump over and work on my other character a little bit. You feel like, at least I feel like I can, easily balance what I want to do. Even though it's overwhelming, there's so much to do, including the bounties and stuff. For some reason, I'm getting a grasp of it just one reset in, like what my goals are, what I want to do. And like you said, you feel like you accomplished something, whatever that may be for you that night, right?
Yeah.
It's in a good place. It's
I do want to throw out, a couple spare pieces of, pertinent information in the news. We're bleeding into reset, so we're going to move on in a second, but
yeah, right.
One of the hot fixes among other, fixes and things like that included, if you are still looking for certain EP gear, Escalation Protocol, they have added, I guess you would call it quality of life improvement here. If you finish wave 7, which is the final boss wave, you can now restart the activity and start it at wave 6. Whereas previously, unless you were kind of exploiting the way that it played out, you would have to go back and start at wave 1 and go all the way through. So if there's certain weapons that you want or certain gear and you just want to grind that out, that's a big deal. I actually still don't have the shotgun. I don't have any of the weapons. So that's awesome. When I get some time, I want to go in and try to get that shotty, man.
Same. Yep.
Yeah.
So many people are running that thing.
Yeah. So a heads up there if you still need that. And then, a lot of people are wondering about how you get these extra seeds of light. If you missed it this week, you can get your second seed of light by completing Blind Well tier 2 and 3 activities. Mm-hmm. You have a chance to drop that, and it's fairly common. I typically have got it on my, I'm really entitled here. I got it on my first clear for both characters on the tier 2 or 3.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I got it on my third clear. Yeah. It's important to note too, like I ran tier 1 and tier 2 Blind Well running solo. Like I went, there was already a bunch of Guardians there. Dude popped like 3 tier 2s in a row, and I got
That's gotten a little bit better than so the first week, even myself and a lot of players, they were going in, they weren't seeing a lot of, public players, blueberries, if you will. Since probably reset or so, every time I've went in there, there's been groups of players. Yeah. I think people were kind of catching up to that and getting to that activity where you would get some rewards out of that. So it's a lot more common to go in there and find people now. So that's how you get your second one. And little spoiler, not terrible, but you do get your third seed of light from the first encounter of the raid. Now, people have been wondering, is that the only way to get it? That would be kind of a big deal. But Cosmo, the community manager, did put up a tweet this weekend and said it's not locked behind that encounter. He said there will be more opportunities to receive seeds of light. Yep. So that almost seems like there isn't an opportunity now, but there will be.
That reminds me. Another thing that opened up after this weekend, I believe, was a heroic version of the Blind Well.
Yeah, you're right, man. I almost forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah,
so people are speculating too.
380.
Yeah. Yep. People are speculating maybe you could get it from there now, but no confirmation at all up to this point that's where you get it. So.
But one of my buddies was speculating. I thought this was a good idea. Maybe you can get it from Iron Banner.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
that'd be cool.
Interesting place. So be on the lookout, but there's going to be other ways to get it. It seems as though, however, that they're building that into sort of in-game activities, which is kind of a different choice, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's a way to, I mean, they told us early on, we covered it, that they would kind of trickle out. I thought maybe I took it more as we'll release them over time, whereas they're kind of doing that, but more so, a little quicker than I thought and more activity based, specifically. But it works, man. I mean, it gives you time to pick which one you want and then kind of fine tune it and master it a bit. And then before you know it, you get another one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really want to get my hands on some of those third options though now.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, actually, I did get the second one for my Titan. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about this in reset.
Yeah, we'll save that for right after
we
save
it
talk
for
about
reset.
Our sponsor this week. We got to get to that. So let's do that now. We got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Shirt Punch. This is a website, shirtpunch.com. They put up, they have two different ways they sell really cool t-shirts. Okay. So you can go there right now. Every day they have, I think, 4 different designs. And they will be on sale for $10 for one day only. And then they also have some options up, every day that you can purchase that are usually, I think, $15 or $20. And they have stuff like horror shirts, anime shirts, video game themed stuff, movies, other animation, just all types of different, collections of designs and stuff. Everything's original. They have some cool stuff, man. And the, Arrow can attest, we got some samples and the shirts are high quality. They fit well. They're soft. The print is nice. So
that's the important part. We like to try it out before we talk about it. And the shirt has got some substance to it. It's very cozy on. It's comfortable. Just as an example, we've mentioned before, what we ordered was like a mashup of Link and Thanos in a design on the shirt.
Yeah.
Super cool looking. So, you guys definitely enjoy them.
Yeah. I'm looking right now today. They have some pretty cool ones. There's a Star Trek shirt. There's a Doctor Who shirt that's pretty cool. They've got some cool nerdy stuff, right? So if you're into t-shirts, which let's be honest, we obviously are, go to shirtpunch.com. If you use promo code POD10, you get 10% off every order. They ship internationally, North America to Australia, everywhere in between. Go check them out, and we thank Shirt Punch for being our sponsor today.
Yes.
All right, buddy. Now we can get into some fun stuff. How was your reset?
Oh man, my reset. We've touched on so many little things already. It's just hard not to. I've just
talk about supers, man.
Yeah, let's jump right into my super question. I got my second Seed of Light, and my main is a Titan, of course.
What did you start with again?
Started with Striker.
Okay.
Because remember, I totally noobed it out and thought like I specifically had to do Striker because I was on the Arc. Anyways, so now I don't know what to do, man, because I haven't done my research yet. I'm going to look some stuff up too. And I really want like the massive sledgehammer PvE fun that it looks like is being had with that. But then I love the idea of this new Void Titan. It throws up a wall for his fellow guardians, and you can gain a damage increase and this or that. But what I'm leaning towards right now, that one seems very, very specific and very
support. It's a lot of support.
And I that's the other thing is that's kind of where I'm looking forward to leveling my Warlock. What is the new solar on the Warlock? Is that where they throw down
Well
like
of
the flag?
Light.
Yeah, and you're buffed, right?
Yep.
Like,
oh man,
when you're in it, see, because I've noticed that in the Blind Well, there's always seems like there's a Warlock in there. Yeah, and dude, like that. Anytime usually I'll go for like a tank role in a lot of games to start, but any game that I've went like a support class, whether it be my second character or my initial character, I have so much fun with that. So I can't decide, dude. Like you have the Sledgehammer Titan, right?
Yeah, so that was my first choice. And then my second tier, I went with the new Sentinel. And I would say I've been running for a lot of activities. I've been running like the top Hammer Titan tree because getting that damage buff on that burn is really clutch for a lot of stuff like in Gambit. That's even what I was running in the first raid encounter. So cause I was the only Titan in there, strangely enough. I don't know how this has transpired that I'm
how has this happened,
I'm the Titan. But when I did get the new Sentinel tree, It's a lot of fun. Definitely using that shield. Some things I like about it, it lasts a really long time, like a lot longer than I expected. And if you've got, I'm not 100% clear on what it is that causes it, but there's a lot of orb generation. I'm not sure if it's when people kill enemies using it or when you take damage, but every time I use it, I'm spitting out orbs like crazy. And that's a cool bonus, to a support class. Before this week, there was an issue where you couldn't properly stack that with the Well of Radiance, but they did fix that this week. So you can stack that and use it. And that can be super effective, I will say. So I think it's really good. I will say the spinny hammers are really fun in PvE. I mean, it's that kind of fun where it's kind of ridiculous. Like you're laughing when you're doing it because it just looks crazy, like spinning around whacking dudes.
Reminds me of Diablo so much.
But I don't know, just listening to you, I feel like you should go for that Sentinel tree because I think you're going to enjoy it.
I think so? Okay. Yeah. See, part of my decision was like maybe early on in the expansion like this, I would benefit more from the Hammer Titan. But, man, I'm just so tempted to do that Sentinel tree. That super seems like a thing you kind of have to coordinate too, like running Strike solo or something. Like, am I going to be able to pop that super and my rando blueberries with me?
People are figuring it out. Yeah.
Okay.
They know what it does now. The first week.
It's been enough time.
Like when I first had it, not everybody was, not using it properly, but, like the beginning of this week, man, we went in and we were doing, was it this week or was it last week? I cannot recall. Maybe it was last week, but we were doing the Warden of Nothing strike as the Nightfall, which is a tough arena as a Nightfall, by the way, but we had the big servitor down to probably like 25% health. And I've been saving it. And I was like, all right, as soon as we clear these ads, I'm going to pop it. You guys get behind me. We're going to do some DPS. And man, I popped that thing and we just shredded that servitor. And it felt really good because,
nice.
He was a real tank. So it was useful and it's fun to be able to do that as a Titan.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was leaning towards the sledgehammer. So now I got some more thinking to do. Maybe I'll go Sentinel. This is a good thing for listeners to send us to. You have to tweet at us guys at Destiny Reset, like what supers you picked first. What do you like? What you're using? What do you think? What do you like? Yeah. All that good stuff. Okay. I've got a decision to make.
I've been talking to a lot of my buddies that run Hunter. Spectral Blade, I've heard, has some issues with hit registration.
Really?
I can't confirm that personally, but I'm seeing a lot of complaints.
I would have thought by now we already see that dominating the Crucible.
Yeah,
but not so much.
It's similar to some of the problems that Blade Dancer had in D1, but they're saying like this is worse.
Okay. Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know the validity of that, but I do know a lot of guys are going with the Gunslinger tree with your throwing knives, and apparently on single target DPS that super does more than a Nighthawk Goldie, which is really impressive.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's kind of the new thing for a lot of my Hunter buds are running. Tether is really clutch in a lot of these encounters though. Tether's super effective on Gambit, on bosses still. So it's interesting, we have all these new supers, but there's some old mainstays that are really, really, really useful still, which I like that. I don't want all the new supers just totally phase out and make redundant the old stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, this is rolling me right into like another thing I wanted to talk about this in Reset is like the build depth in this game now, dude. Like I had to send out a tweet because I've been, I've already spent some time in the Crucible. Naturally, that's just what I do, especially with bows in the game now. I've just been clip after clip of bows. I'm loving them so much. And, like the build depth, man, you talking about supers. first of all, the classic, what class, what subclass, and then what exotic. And then on top of that, you've got, what's your loadout going to be? And then what are your perks on that loadout? And what do you want them to be? And then your mods on top of that. And then I'm having so much fun, dude. Like, cause I've really been trying to figure out, I'm already at that point, like with my bow usage. I'm like, I've been working hard this week to figure out what primary I want to run, what kinetic I want to run with my bow. And I've been to Antiope. I've been to a hand cannon. Now I've got a shotty out, and I'm like, okay, what perks do I want to run with this? Like, I threw the radar tuner on my bow. I'm just sitting there in my menus, like thinking about what would I benefit the most from on my bow and the perks I have on it and the way I play. And I gotta say, dude, like that is what I want. Like, I want to spend some time in my menus thinking about this stuff, and then go into the Crucible and test it and like see if I've found like that synergy with my build. And I'm not even close, man. Like, I'm saving like every piece of armor I'm getting just in case, because, of course I want to build like a PvE and a PvP set, if you will, like a go-to set.
Yeah.
And dude, I don't know about you. I'm having so much fun with it. I'm not anywhere even close to having my build ready.
I was thinking about you last night because my buddy got, I want to say the exotic is, Oathkeeper. It's a hunter exotic, and it allows the main perk is bows charge faster, and you can hold a charge indefinitely.
Oh, wow.
And
dude,
he was using
way.
it.
I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen this.
And I
this
didn't
is
either.
On a hunter?
This is a hunter. Yeah, it's a hunter exotic arms.
Dude. I've been spending some time in the Crucible already with my hunter, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he mentioned, he was saying like, he could see immediately how this could be like a really important, like competitive, build for those guys that run bows, just cause you can sit there and hold that string back.
Yep.
For the
dude,
right
that's
moment.
massive. That's huge, because I already do that and hold it as long as I can, because you can see your radar, when you're from the hip.
So just wait
huge,
until
man.
you get that in Trinity Ghoul.
And then Wish Ender's
nasty,
still
man.
sitting out there, dude. That Wish Ender,
that might be what
bow.
I'm thinking about. Wish Ender is the one.
That's the one you can see through walls, and
Dude,
you can collateral.
Those two together are gonna be so OP, man.
I cannot wait. I didn't even know that those were the perks on that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I know the exotic I'm chasing for on my hunter now.
Yeah.
It's all about that sprint cancel with the bow. You can, of course, cancel the drawback with a sprint and holding it down, being able to see the radar and the aerial shots, man.
Yeah.
Like, everything is so great on the bows. Like, you can, first of all, yesterday, Gunsmith had, Icarus. Finally, I don't think it's been up, dude. I bought like 5 of them. So I'm trying to decide again what I want to put in my bow, because you can get some crazy aerial shots with the bow. Like, it feels so good. It doesn't feel like there's a ton of accuracy or precision drop off when you're up in the air. And it's one of those things, you just, as you use it, you feel more comfortable with it and you get more confident with it. And it comes pretty quick with the bows. If you guys haven't tried them out, you've got to try them. It's not quite as, I don't think they're as intimidating as they should be. Granted, it is a certain play style, and I played with No Land for a long time, so I'm used to like that single shot, get out of there kind of
peak and
engagement.
Peak and pop. Right.
Yeah. But dude, they feel so, props to the team, man, because the bows feel so good. They feel so good. And I've heard a lot of people, I haven't used them a ton in PvE, but I've heard a lot of Guardians out there just in chatting.
There's some good stuff. This week, I don't know if it had to happen on reset, but a lot of Guardians were getting the arsenic, what is it called? The arsenic something B. Arsenic Bite -4B, and it's a bow that rides in your energy slot, and it often drops with Rampage, and it's also got a like the role that I have, I don't know if this is the common role, but it's got a perk called Archer's Tempo, which is draw time decreases after each precision hit.
Dude, that's what I have on my Subtle Calamity. It's an energy slot.
That and Rampage makes it really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about that, man. We're talking a little bit about builds, and there's so much gear and there's so much still to find that it's, people are starting to discover really fun builds. And I've enjoyed so much a lot of the perks that can drop on guns that make interesting combat loops. I have, I got some really lucky drops this week, and I got a Tiger Spite, which is a precision frame auto rifle, and it dropped with Outlaw and Kill Clip, which is a nasty roll on any gun, right?
Yep.
And I was playing with that using the One-Eyed Mask helmet. And the One-Eyed Mask, if you're not familiar, basically if you take damage from an enemy, it marks it. And if you kill that enemy, you get an overshield and extra damage. People are really salty about it in the Crucible right now. But using that helmet and that gun, it was so much fun in PvE activities, because between the Kill Clip and the, I think it's called like Vindication or something is the perk, that pops up. No, Vengeance. It just made me feel so powerful. Like if you could get those precision shots and get the Kill Clip and the Outlaw and reload really fast, and then get the Vengeance perk. And it makes me really excited about all the different types of builds with different guns, and then the different perks that you'll be able to have on your armor to reinforce the way that you like to play. Right. And it opens up, a lot of options for that, what we call, or what Luke Smith originally called like horizontal progression in the game, where once you kind of climb to the top in power, you start to expand your options of, making builds that suit how you like to play. And I'm finding a lot of depth in that.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about random rolls so much. It's such a big deal, man. Like I just went and dropped, I got like, I don't know, 2 to 2,500 gunsmith materials. I don't have quite that many now. Probably 1,800 now, but I had to go drop some packages, man. And I got a Antiope with Kill Clip, and, and I'm like, very specific thing is my bow obviously is long range gameplay for the most part. I have gotten decent with it, like from the hip, but like in close quarters, but a lot of times I'll get that initial crit and I want to clean up. Well, I find myself like looking for perks on an Antiope that I normally wouldn't. I'm maxing out the range and I'm this or that because all I'm looking to do is get that cleanup kill. I just need to put a few more bullets into them after, hitting that crit with the bow. And normally that's not what I would be looking for in that SMG, right? And there's just, that adds so much, like you said, like he called it, horizontal progression and depth to the game. And then I just get excited thinking about, we're so far from it right now. I'm not even close to having my build where I want it. But my main focus for me is Crucible. And then once I do Crucible, with that, I'm going to be working on my PvE build. And then I'm thinking about like Gambit, dude. Like that might be a whole different build that I want to work on for my characters is to maximize, my potential and what I can do inside of something like Gambit. So there's just
you'll have a lot of different builds for different things,
It's just so exciting. It really is. It's cool.
Man, I got to talk about some other cool, dude, I got Ace of Spades. I finished
it. Oh, did you, man? I have not gotten it yet.
My gosh, the hype is fully justified. Really? This gun is so good.
I want it to pair with my bow, man. Like I want it.
This is probably the best hand cannon I've ever touched in Destiny. Really? It's so crispy. Like,
man, you're making me so jelly right now. Oh my gosh,
you got to get your hands on it, man. It is so good.
Well, it's, and I've heard, it's good PvE and PvP, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it used everywhere.
It's really meta in PvP right now. A lot of people are running it, even in comp, just because it's solid, man. It just feels great. It's got the perk called Memento Mori, which grants up to 6, overpowered rounds in the chamber. And one thing I really like is it doesn't expire, right? You have them until you shoot them. And then it's got this awesome reload animation. When you reload it, you spin it. And then
last word-esque.
Yeah, then you dump your shells, and then you reload it. You know, I mean, it's so good, dude.
My main focus. It was already something I wanted to get done, but now I'm like pushing it closer to the top.
And the quest is really cool. I don't want to spoil it. There's a mission to cap it off, and it's just got some more stuff with Cade that's going to make you choke up. You got to go make this a priority. Not only is it a great gun, it drops powerful. And you're going to want to have it. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's going to be in top of the list.
Make it top of your list. I forced myself, I got to get this. People were talking about it too much. So I put some other stuff off, and I was super happy I got it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to. I've watched reviews on it and stuff already, for the Crucible. And
yeah,
I'm like, okay, that might go well with my loadout.
Also, if you can grind Gambit Trust, oh man, I'm really lucky. Cannon? I'm going to acknowledge it again. I've had 3 of these drop with different perks.
My goodness.
No matter what perks you get on it.
Is it just a random drop while you're playing in Gambit?
It can be. You can also get it at a certain rank, I believe, but you can get it to drop randomly from, like your rank up packages.
Oh, okay.
Or from, I think he has some bounties that drop gear. I can't remember exactly.
Powerful gear. I think so.
A lot of stuff is a blur.
Yeah, there's just so much, man.
It's a revolver, but it has that same recoil pattern. You remember the hand cannon that we got from Warmine that everybody was going nuts over for a little while? It was the Ikalos hand cannon. And it's kind of just got that slightly vertical, just kind of punch when you shoot. It's like that on a revolver. It's crazy stable. Try to get that gun. It's nasty. It's nasty.
Well, and he's got that, I forget if it's a Pulse or a Scout that you can buy at a certain rank. Pulse, yeah, that everybody's saying.
I'm trying to get it.
That
I'm
thing
not there
too.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing's pretty
just
good.
So much loot to chase.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing.
Yeah,
really
I like that they built some really good guns. Like there's a lot of exceptional options if you get the right rolls. Like there's not just 1 or 2, like there's a bunch of legendaries that are really good.
And that excitement of just checking your rollout every time you get a drop is back, man.
Did you get the Lord of Wolves?
Yeah. I got it this reset. It dropped for me.
I did too.
Yep. I've used it a little bit, not a lot.
It's really good.
But
It
always was a fun, different, interesting gun.
I brought it out in PvP and PvE and had a blast with it.
Yeah. It's, that's the only, I got Queensbreaker, which I forgot about last episode we talked about.
Nice.
And then that's the only, exotic I've gotten this reset is Lord of Wolves. So they're pretty scarce, man,
they are, yeah.
Honestly, that's been chatter in the community. I'm totally cool with it. Like it feels cool when you get one.
I'm cool with it. My only worry is that there's some really unique guns that I would really like to have. And I'm almost worried we're going to be in that vanilla Destiny situation where there's these guns that are totally awesome and unique, right? And can give you a really cool experience in the game. But I'm worried I'll wait 3 months to get one,
Right. You don't
just
want it
because
to be
of
too
chance. Because in the pool, in the loot pool, there's year 1 stuff. I've already gotten dupes of year 1 stuff I already had. And then there's these new guns, and then, you don't get a lot of drops at exotics. And Zer's not yet sold anything new. He's selling again this week, old stuff.
Yeah. And I think they've said he is going to, right?
They didn't really say. I mean, if you remember.
I think they did. I think they did in one of the TWABs. They said he wasn't going to sell Forsaken stuff for a little while.
Well, what they said was that the faded engrams would only offer year 1 stuff.
Okay. Maybe I read it wrong. I was thinking they said he wasn't going to have Forsaken
Right.
gear for a bit.
No,
Well, that'd be nice then if he can have one. It is weird though, the first 2 weeks. I mean, remember way back in the day, he's supposed to be random. Like they have no control. His will is his own, but it is weird. 2 weeks in a row now in expansion. We've normally at least seen one.
Right.
One new exotic.
So I don't know. I'm just, that's my only concern is, like, there's these guns and, how long till I actually get a new one?
Yeah.
I have some buddies that have gotten some, but it's
like that hunter exotic you just told me about. I want that thing. And there's so many potent Titan exotics. And then another thing that I'm running into right now is I want at least one of the 2 hand cannons that are in the comp playlist. And I've spent some time in the Crucible. Most of it has been quick play, just kind of goofing around and checking loadouts and messing with my bow. And I actually really want to get the we ran out of medal because it's 20 plus kills in a single life and you get an emblem for it. And I really, really want that.
Yeah, and doesn't the emblem track like in game?
It tracks
Crucible?
7th columns. I think.
I think it has like 5 or 6 different things.
Stats on it.
Yeah, it's like,
can you pick what you want to show, I guess?
What's that?
Can you pick like which one you want people to see?
I think it just shows all of them, doesn't it?
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. I've seen on my friends list like 7th column. Maybe I just didn't see the whole thing. So
maybe you can pick.
I'm pretty sure you're right. There's multiple things, and I want that emblem so bad. But then on top of that, I want those comp hand cannons really bad. I'm trying to decide. Like, we only have 3 months. The seasons.
Well, I think that they mention the quest for Luna's Howl and for Broadsword does not expire when the season ends.
Oh, you're right. They did say that. You're right. Yep. I remember reading that. So those 2 things that you pick up from Shacks.
Yeah.
Those are actually.
Now the only catch that those both have, I believe, at least the Luna's Howl, it has a step that requires a comp rating. So, if you had it and you got to that step and then, the season reset, that would be a downside. But
yeah, because you got to hit Fabled and Legend.
I believe if you get the rating before you get to the step, it knows if you've hit the rating before in case you drop, right?
Okay.
So
I need to definitely confirm all this because that's huge. Because right now I feel like maybe more than the rest of the year, even though we've got content lined out for us the rest of the year. Right now, there's just so much to do and so much going on.
Yeah.
I've had this like thought in my mind, like I don't want to wait too long to get into comp because of that ticking clock of getting that. But that's nice to know. I did read that. I'm glad you just brought that back to my attention. So that relieves me a little bit to be able to experience some of this other stuff before I, jump hot and heavy into a competitive playlist. But dude, it was literally just last night. Night before last night. I was like, I gotta go to bed. I gotta get some rest. But the night before that, dude, and many nights before, I'm overwhelmed with like just being a kid again, dude. Like, it's the new game's out. There's so much to do. You're so excited. You have that feeling of like, dude, I can play this whenever I want. There's so much to do. Like, it's here. I'm just having so much fun with the game right now, dude. And I haven't even like come close to fully experiencing like many areas of it. Gambit being one of them. Like, I am so ready for the time. I don't want to rush it, but I'm going to spend hours in Gambit, dude. I haven't even come close to being ready to jump in there and fully experiencing that game mode.
It's a ton of fun, man. It sucks when you lose, like any other game. And there can be stuff that'll really
the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can come back in that game mode.
Oh yeah, man. I think the most fun I've had this week were some matches where, the round it was looking bad on the round. Like they pulled some great strategy moves and pulled ahead, and then we were able to, just to work it. And come back and get our primeval and actually make it a contest. And then, you know, going back and forth on rounds, and it comes down to that third round and being able to clutch it. I mean, it gives that, that competitive, you know, fun of it reminds me a lot of Trials, like old Elimination with the rounds and being able to, you know, just clutching a round or clutching a match, is so much fun. And you can really do that in Gambit. You can come back big time as the underdog. Big time.
Like I never rule out a team, dude. Like you can have your primeval up and the other team still needs like 50 motes. And I'm like, no, that they can come back. Focus, guys. Focus.
Yeah. and there's different ways to work every round in different situations. There's not just one way to do things. And there's some ways that you can play your cards to really screw over the other team. And then there's a way to play your cards to come back and knock the winning team down a notch or two with invading. And, you know, there's a lot that you can do. And, you know, all the different builds on, you know, how you can burn your primeval or take out a lot of ads. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in there, and it makes it really enjoyable, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I've been jumping in and doing the dailies and the weeklies. That's about the extent that I played Gambit. I jumped in with my cousin, who I mentioned last week, has returned to the game, and kind of showed him in one game, like, what the concept is. And as I'm describing it to him, I'm like, just thinking to myself, dude, it's such a cool mode.
And so dude, cool. the Drifter, I am fascinated with who this dude is. He has a lore book about him. And then there's also all the armor pieces that he drops tell a story, or 3 different stories. And he's a bad dude, man. He is like, you don't know exactly what his intentions are, but what he's doing is really flirting with the dark. But long story short, that big thing that he's towing around, he created that and has trapped a piece of the Ascendant plane. And the Taken that spawn in the primevals, he's pulling from that. And the banks that you deposit motes in, they compact the motes of light and create dark motes that he uses to summon those primevals at a whim. So there's this card in there, and I hate to spoil this for anybody, but I gotta tell you, there's a card in there where he's going in and he's on the EDZ, and he's salvaging like Cabal technology left over from like battles and stuff we have. And some Cabal show up, and he takes out a dark mote and summons like 9 primevals, and they just wipe out like a whole legion of Cabal. Like, it's crazy. Wow. So what is this dude doing? Like, he's controlling Taken. Like, this is bad news. Like, what are his plans with this? And we're helping him with this, you know?
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing that we've mentioned before that I feel like just deserves so much attention. You know, Bungie, we're not like that mode. If it is awesome mode on the surface, and if that's all you want it for and you want to play it, but there's always so much more in the story and the lore of the game. Like the fact that actually banking the motes is something that is contributing to something else in the lore and the story is so cool.
They built a whole like story, and you know, it's not just an arbitrary thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're excited to know that we have an expansion, you know, solely devoted to him.
The icing on the cake is in the book, you're being told about the Drifter by a renegade hunter, and they don't say his name, but it's almost certainly Shin Malphur from the Dwindler's Ridge story, you know? And so he's like talking to Shax, and they basically agree to let the Drifter, and they help him set up this whole deal because they're hoping that, doing so is going to draw out these renegade guardians called Shadows of Yore, that are basically like bad guardians. Like, they just do evil stuff using the light, and they're hoping that this will like attract them so that the renegade can like hunt him down and kill him, because that's what he does now. is really cool, man. I can't
Wow.
I can't wait for
I still
Joker's
haven't
Wild to
jumped
see
in.
like how this plays out.
I still haven't jumped in, which I did just realize this week. I didn't think it was fully implemented on the website, but you can actually log into your profile on the website, and all the nodes you see for the collections and the triumphs and the lore and all that, even the lore entries, are all on the Bungie.net's website.
Yeah, and they're in the companion app as well.
So good, dude. Like I'm going to spend some time just like reading at lunch and things like that, to keep up with. Dude, I feel like I've said this a couple times on Twitter, just talking back and forth with you tonight or this morning. I feel like this experience we're having right now, we're going to it's one of those that we're going to remember and be talking about like years from now. Do you remember how awesome Forsaken was? You know what I mean? It's like we're right in the midst of a gaming experience that is just, it seems like it's extremely top notch.
Yeah. I know we're in the honeymoon phase, but I feel like
we are, dude. But
credit is due now.
Yeah, we've played. It is super early, but we played Destiny for so long, dude. And we've been through so many different phases of the game that we've been hoping and been thinking this point was going to be the best Destiny experience that we've had. And it sure does feel like it. Like you said, we might be in the honeymoon phase right now, but it really feels like there's some longevity here for sure. Definitely. I wanted to mention this week too. I mentioned Bungie's website. Something else I use, I just kind of wanted to throw out to the listeners. Of course, there's the Dirt Fam. And there's always Dirt Fam on, unless you play at extremely random hours like I do at times. Typically you can LFG in the Dirt Fam Discord and find some people to run in your fire team. But there are times late at night, whether I get back up or I'm just staying up too late and my fire team's not on, that I'm just kind of soloing some stuff. Dude, the Bungie fire team app, like, have you ever used it?
No, I haven't.
Campaign, dude, it is super cool. First of all, you just refresh it, pick your platform and refresh it. This is the companion app, and people just post what they're looking for, just like you would see on, of course, any other LFG app. But like the other night I was running the heroic adventure and I made it all the way to the boss by myself and I couldn't beat the boss. I threw up a fire team. I created my own fire team, said I needed 2 people, and just put in the title at heroic adventure boss. Like within a minute, 2 people jumped in my fire team. You can invite them to your instance through the app. They join, we beat the boss, and they leave. And you can do this, of course, with
this is in the companion app?
Yeah, this is in the companion app. It is, I have been just blown away with how simple, quick, and easy it is. Of course, right now, if you're looking for a raid run, obviously, it's better if you've kind of experienced it and know what you're doing. But Nightfalls, and you can LFG all of it. The Callus run I did a couple weeks ago where I got Midnight Coup, I jumped in one of those. They needed one more player. I jumped in, we beat the boss, and done. And then that's like your fire team closes. And of course you can chat with them and do other things if you want, but I'm just blown away at how simple it is. You throw up looking for 2, Nightfall, yada, yada, yada. Dude, it's unbelievable how quick they join. I love that you can invite them through the app. They join. You can chat if you want. You don't have to chat. You can put on there, like if you have a mic, if you don't have a mic. Of course, a lot of activities, it's not really required that you need to chat. And I have had a lot of success with it at 2:30, 3 in the morning when I really want to complete something and my fire team's not on, or, there's not many of the Dirt Fam on at the time. And, I felt like I wanted to just mention it, for anybody that hasn't used it. I just recently, in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, have started using it. And that's been pretty much my experience, so far. So whether you want to create a fire team or just look out there for people that are doing things, you pull that down and refresh it. And there's new ones, it feels like every second, especially right now with this expansion dropping, people just creating fire teams and looking for other people to play with. So
that's cool, man. I've never taken advantage of it. I hear people talk about it and then it works great, but, maybe there's occasionally okay, everybody's doing different stuff and I want to do this thing and I can't always find somebody to do exactly what I want to do. So I'll have to give it a try. I forget that.
Give it a try, dude. So far, I'm very happy with it.
That's great.
Very pleased.
That's great. That's a cool feature, man. I mean, man, can you imagine like if we had that back in the day, you know?
Oh yeah, man, that'd be nice. For sure. Yep. Another thing I want to ask you about too, I want to get your opinion on the Dreaming City evolving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We don't have to talk about details like we said, but I had this moment this week where I feel like, cause we can at least say this. There are ascendant planes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
In the Dreaming City.
Yeah.
That have rotated the resets we've had, right? A new one's been up.
Yeah.
I haven't completed any of them. Granted, you do kind of have to be up there in power a little bit. It's an end game destination. Are these things like, do we know? Are they going to be on like a 3 or 4 week rotation?
My guess is that there's 3 of them.
Think so?
Because we know the Dreaming City is on a 3-week rotation. So my guess is that there's 3 of them and they'll just rotate every week.
And they'll rotate because, I had that moment where I'm like, dang, I can't keep up. Like there's no way I can't.
I will say, I think this, out of the 2 that we've done, this week is definitely easier.
Okay.
So I would try this one, without spoiling it. The mechanic is a lot more fun and pretty easy once you get that mechanic set up, to defeat the guys.
Okay.
So I would
try.
I wanted to
see,
you can do it with 2 people even. So
cool.
go try it out.
You said you guys were mid 530s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right, and I had that moment this week. I went in last night with 2 of us, and my buddy playing with me was 518 on his alternate, and we did it fine.
Still did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was, and of course, typically, of course, that stuff's going to be on some sort of rotation or reset. But I'm like, I had that moment where I'm like, okay, maybe the Dreaming City could evolve a little slower.
Well, and I think the great thing that they're doing that makes it so cool is that it's on a rotation. So my perception is, every week we'll have a little bit different things to do. And so we have that after next week, it'll rotate back to how it was the first week. And those things you didn't do, you'll have another opportunity to do. And it will be, you'll hopefully be a little more powerful and you can do those things. And that's a really clever way to have this place not be static, but give you multiple opportunities to do stuff, right?
Yeah. And also our podcast name of choice is still relevant.
Enjoy the resets, yeah.
Yes.
Well, awesome, man. Cool. I didn't expect we'd talk this long this week, but so many things to experience in this game now. It's hard to, I feel like we could just carve out 5 different areas of this game and have a different show for each one.
Yeah, I think so, dude.
And I think I think if you're listening, you'll be able to look forward to, I'm sure we'll have some episodes in the next, month or 2 that will focus on different aspects of the game as we unfold more, things like the raid, like Gambit, even PvP and stuff. And I think we're going to plan on having some cool guests to come on and talk about those things. So we'll get more in depth. Right now we're trying to cover more broad.
Yeah. I was thinking too, it's always cool. Well, we talk about like how much fun it would be to play together, and at some point, hopefully, we'll be able to do that. But I do wonder too, like it makes the chat each week so fun though, because
for sure.
Yeah, we've only chatted via text, and we have so much to talk about, and this or that. So, it works out well.
Oh, and I want to give a quick shout out. If you ever, a lot of people listen to more than one Destiny show. It's worth going to check out. Last week's Destiny Community podcast, because they had the voice actor for Uldren on, and that's, they talked about a lot of stuff, and it was really fascinating. And he actually, you can hear a lot about it, but the voice actor, he also does a lot of the motion cap for other characters in the game and has for a while. Even like he did mocap for the Guardian for some points for Forsaken. He did mocap for Zavala for different points. And he talks about a lot of that process. This is Brandon O'Neill. And he's been working with Bungie for like 6 years now. And so, go check out that interview. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Why don't we wrap this up? Let's do some discourse real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
We got an email from Quentin. Subject is custom supers. He says, after playing Solstice of Heroes, going into Forsaken, there was a point where I'm surprised Bungie didn't take this opportunity to do something amazing, but there was an adventure on IO where Asher Mir attempted to create synthetic light but failed. If his experiment had succeeded, could you imagine the possibilities of creating your very own unique super? If you could create your own unique super, what would it be? Love listening to you guys. Keep up the amazing work. Ooh.
Yeah, this is a really cool adventure. I remember doing this when Destiny 2 Vanilla dropped, not long after. And, this is a really unique one. But that question, man, if you'd asked me that like 3 years ago, I'd probably give you a list. Now they've done so many cool power fantasies. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I have had to think about this in a little bit. See, we've banked this email a little bit, and there's two layers, of course, a realistic layer to this. Like, holy smokes, the sandbox would be a mess if we could create our own super.
Right.
But the fun layer of it, like, it is really hard to step out of the box, like, and think of something new especially with what we have now. I did think of, like, it would be kind of cool if the Titan had like an arc, like a massive arc spear or something.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the Hunter's new knives that just did massive damage on a single target, like with a crit hit or something. Or you could do another layer where you could like stab it into the ground and turn it into like a support class of sorts. Nice. But dude, that one just hit me this week. I've been thinking about this email for weeks, and like you said, there's so many. I don't know how. I applaud them for like all the supers we got in this expansion.
Yeah,
because to come up with that, let alone make it work in the game and in the sandbox, and then make it a viable option and something you would want to run. It's just, I can't imagine the challenge there.
I think some of the things that over time that I've thought about would be cool, or even other people have brought up, would be something to do with ice. Like freezing enemies, or creating like walls of ice, or debuffs, something like that would be cool. And then another thing I've thought about that would be kind of ridiculous though, but would be for the Guardians to have a brawler class where everything is just, fists and kicks and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Almost like Striker Titan, but like literally like your super would just be, a really powerful punch, or like you could just run around super fast, like punching and kicking everything. Or,
yeah.
I don't know.
You could even try to do that on the Hunter or class as well.
Yeah.
Something all ninja-y like that.
Yeah, for
sure. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe kind of where he was going with this too is the spear, like I mentioned. That would be cool to bring in a new element, like you said, like ice or something.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Cool. A long time ago, when people still had the idea that there could be a fourth subclass, a popular idea was like a decay based class.
Oh yeah.
I've even, I have read back in the day when they were still kind of dreaming up what Destiny would be, there was a sort of necromancer class, that they had considered for the Warlock, I think, that would involve like, I guess like raising things from the dead and like different crazy stuff like that. But I've, this may be a reach, but reading through a lot of the new lore and stuff with Forsaken, and then all the different focus kind of on the mixture of dark and light, especially with the Awoken. And then these shadows, these guardians that, are doing bad things with the light, and then the drifter that's definitely using the dark. It makes me wonder really hard if, at some point we don't see some classes that do things with the darkness. I think it would be really interesting for the story, but also open up a lot of opportunities for them to do some cool stuff in the game.
Yeah. I could, that'd be fun.
Opening up like ascendant portals and taking PvE enemies and using them. And I don't know, man. There's some possibilities.
Yeah, I think you're onto something for sure.
A great question, Quentin. I enjoy those big, what ifs. Those are always fun to imagine.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, but if you would like to send us some Dirt Fam discourse, we'd love to hear next week, what your favorite supers are. Your new attunements. What are you enjoying the most? What kind of builds? Yeah. What kind of builds are you doing? What are you having fun with? What's really effective? And send us some tips. We'll read them on the show.
I foresee a Crucible episode sometime in the future.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Crucible focused builds.
Crucible's a lot of fun right now.
Oh, it is.
We haven't talked much about it, but
we will.
It's fun. Do we have any new patrons this week?
We do. Shout out to Dry Pone Star.
All right. Thanks for becoming a patron.
Yes, thank you.
If you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/Destiny Reset. As little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of our show. You get some rewards for doing that. You get a shout out on the podcast. You get your gamer tag posted on our website and an invitation to our Discord channel just for Dirt Fan patrons and supporters. So thank you again to all of our continued patrons. Each and every one of you make a big difference for Arrow and I and our ability to produce this show every week. So we really are thankful for that.
Yes, very much so.
All right, man. Well, it's been fun. I always enjoy wrapping up my week every week with you in Destiny.
Yep. Back at you, dude. I honestly, like you said, I didn't think, I knew we had plenty to talk about, but wow.
I wasn't worried. I was just like, we'll just sit down and there's going to be plenty to discuss.
Plenty to discuss.
Yep. All right. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at AER0KNIGHT, AER0KNIGHT. Be looking out on my YouTube channel. I'm diving into the Crucible.
You definitely have some crispy bow clips on there you can check out.
Dude, I can't stop posting the bow clips, and I'm hoping here soon I'm going to try and throw up some videos talking about like builds I'm working on and different things like that. So I appreciate you guys checking out the YouTube channel if you get a chance.
That's great. Yeah, I'll look forward to that. You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter and Mixer. And then you can find us, follow us on Twitter at Destiny Reset, or you can find almost everything Destiny Reset on the World Wide Web at www.destinyresetpodcast.com. Your source for all things DRP. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice. There's a link to everyone right there if you need to find it. Thank you for your Apple Podcast reviews. If you listen to us on that platform, we love getting your reviews there. I think we've got some new ones, right?
Yeah, we do. We kind of, every now and then we like to try and browse out to the other countries. We try to keep track of that, guys. We do it here and there, but we wanted to give a shout out. We believe we've noticed, Ace Suderman, Joey Joe, and Sika Martin, recognize.
I know all those names,
there.
Yeah.
Yep. So we thank you guys so much. We see you, out on the UK and the Canada store. We appreciate the reviews very much.
Thanks so much. And listen, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and you've never given us a review, please do. Not only does it, help to see your feedback and give us a great, morale boost every week when we see those, but those reviews help us get seen by more listeners when they type in, Destiny in that search directory, and they want to find somebody to listen to. So you are helping us get heard by more people.
Thank you, Guardians.
Well, until next week, buddy. It's been fun.
Yeah, we've got some stuff to finish up before this reset. We got one more night.
Yep.
All right, guys. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.